Welcome back to KG and the General. 8346 2700. That's the number to ring. That man, Sam Newman, has done it again.
Sometimes, Cage, you know, you say things and then afterwards you think, I wish I hadn't have said that. And I'm sure this is one of those moments today when you're down at the mall getting chocolate poured all over you. Well, Sam, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Phil. How's your good self?
Yes, mate. Now, we're wondering why a man as intelligent as yourself would put yourself in this sort of position, and KG wants to know if you wore the G-string.
Well, I did. I wore it. In fact, I wore it a bit. It was a bit tight and a bit firm and a bit inserted after the chocolate got poured onto me, or the grease. I'll tell you. Now, listen to me. Just listen carefully. Last year, the lowest crowd ever for a what do you call them? Not derby games.
Showdown.
Showdown, and the year before, the second lowest. We're trying to save you, Ken, something that you put your heart and soul into, which was national football. We're trying to save you from losing your franchise. The AFL will look at you very carefully shortly if no one turns up to your games.
Well, Sammy, who put you up to this? Did the Port Adelaide Football Club make a personal plea to Sammy Newman to make that comment?
No, James Brayshaw said the crowds were down in Adelaide, and I thought as a civic duty to the nation we should say, well, this is a disgrace. Ken, you and Jack Cale and Foss Williams and Mark and Studley, all these people have tried to get state football recognised in this smallish town over here, and what do? Your crowds religiously turn your back on them. But power people do anyhow.
Well, I must confess, Sam, their crowds haven't been flash, and we do thank you for getting over 40,000 people there. But I want to know, how did the tar and feather situation go?
Well, I think I'm now down at the sanitarium at the Siebel. I've got bird flu as a result of having feathers infiltrate up my nostrils and up every orifice in my body. It's taken a while to get them all off, but we gave the public what they wanted. You know, I keep saying when I die, I'll have the biggest funeral in the world, because if you give the public what they want, they'll turn out.
Now, Sam, did they give you a hard time, the people in the mall? They give you a hard time?
To be quite honest, Ken, they were very, very charitable. Not we had a fair security force with us. We thought ball bearings and darts thrown from 100 metres might be the order of the day, but no, we did appreciate their behaviour, and there's a hell of a crowd there, to be honest, and we were thinking if only this crowd would go to the Port Power games.
Well, you know, it's funny, Sam, because we think you've done such an outstanding job here with the Power and the Crows. Maybe you could do something for North Melbourne and James Brayshaw. I'm just wondering what stunt you could go with.
Yes, well, I was the convener of that chicken gag, which got out of hand over there the other day. I wrote that script in the summer of 2008 about the chicken and the condom on its head, and it got taken a little out of context, and we've had to duck for cover for the last month. So I'm very adverse to doing anything for the Kangaroos at the minute.
Well, what about doing something for Melbourne? They got, 14,000 people at the G last Sunday week.
Ken, don't worry about our side of the continent, mate. We're going beautifully over there. We're just worried about the two franchises here that 50% of them no one takes an interest in.
Well, but hey, don't point the finger at the Crows, Sammy. The Crows draw a very good crowd.
Ken, did you hear what I said?
I heard you.
50% of the franchises, that's half, and if you've got two teams, half of them is one. That's the Port Power. They do not turn out.
Well,
I can't argue that.
You got that?
I've got it loud and clear, Sam.
Sam, did you watch the game?
Did I watch the game, mate? I tell you what, I had to stick some knitting needles into my eyeballs. Other than that, I would have watched, but I had that as a preference.
Well, we're just wondering now that the Crows have been called soft, they may have to bring the big 300-game player from Geelong in to harden them up a little bit.
Well, I mean, it is a disgrace, isn't it? I mean, the great Crow, the two-time premiership pennant winners from over here get humbled by no one who actually goes to their games, the Power. No one was watching them, and then they still got up and won.
Now, Sammy...
That is something, you've got to worry about that, Ken.
Well, you do...
Phil.
Now, Sammy, can I ask you where they put the chocolate?
You started then, Ken?
I did start it.
No, Sammy.
Sammy...
You haven't got Tourette's disease or anything, have you?
Now, Sammy...
What do you want to say?
Can I ask you on what parts of your body did they put the chocolate?
What part? Well, they put it all over me, Ken, and a lot of it got onto my underwear, but apparently some of the lads said they couldn't tell the difference if the chocolate was there or not. No, I tell you what, I went in. I did actually go into the public showers down here where the swimming pool is, and I thought they'd better alert people that I've been in there, because if you walked into the toilets and the showers and unaware, it was knee-deep in brown stuff and feathers, and people would have known what was going on in there.
They probably thought you shit yourself.
Well, I was going to say that. Thanks, Prince Rainier, for that. Ken said they probably would have thought I shit myself. I was being very careful not to say that, Ken, knowing that you've got a fairly sophisticated audience, but now that the floodgates are open, shit, yeah, look, it was like vomit and puke and piss coming out of my arse.
Oh, hey, Sammy, did it hurt getting the chocolate off or not?
Did it hurt getting the chocolate off? Well, there's a lot of good lines there, Ken.
I know.
A lot of people volunteered to lick it off, but no, it didn't hurt at all, Ken. I don't know if you've been doused in chocolate of late, but it's quite a pleasant experience.
I'm just wondering, because KG's holding onto a big plunger here at the moment when he asked that question, Sam. So,
if you've got a loved one at home, man, woman or beast, throw some chocolate over them one night and just a show of euphoria and see how they get on with it.
You would look like a bloody chock eye, Sam.
You'll lick them to death, Ken.
Now, Sam, we know that the Victorians are better at it than everything else we do. Now, Neil Curley, of course, the king of footy, whether it be Melbourne...
Viscount Curley.
Viscount
Curley MBE.
Now, I understand that it was very good of you to have a party for the king on your boat. How did he handle it? He come up all right?
Yes, he was unsteady. Actually, he did it in reverse. He was unsteady on dry land, and as soon as he got onto a rocking boat, he even dried out. He moved beautifully with the sway and the lull of the boat, and we had a very, very pleasant time. Some real luminaries there, too, to be honest.
I've seen some photographs, Sam. You've got the top of the wazzers there, for goodness sake.
What's that, Ken?
You got the cream there on that particular day.
The creme de la creme, Ken. We had John Schultz and Ron Barassi and Kevin Sheedy and John Elliott and...
Eddie Maguire, was he there?
Who?
Eddie Maguire, your mate.
Eddie was there, yep. Eddie arrived, and Neil was in the middle of a speech celebrating his birthday, and Ed just interrupted and spoke for another 3/4 of an hour about nothing. And then Ken resumed. Ed bid everyone farewell, and he left, and Neil went on with his speech.
Now, the only thing we were worried about here when we talked to Curls, he said he had to stay on the boat. He thought that the walkways got a little bit smaller as the night went on.
They did. Ken was last to leave. Neil was last to leave, of course, and I helped him down the... It's a floating dock there, and it does get a bit touchy at night, and it narrowed right down. He only fell in 2 or 3 times, and we put him on the back of a big dog, and that took him back to his hotel.
He reckons he was pretty keen to have a go at riding the bike around the Docklands. He said without a helmet they can get onto a fair bit of strife.
Yeah, no, the coppers. I tell you what, we're very, very diligent over here, or over in Melbourne, about police matters. Riding a bike without a helmet on a bike path, I mean, that is tantamount to being stoned in the square. Yep, no, police very savage on anything that might be considered against the law in Melbourne.
Now, I'm just wondering how that all goes with you, Sam. You're into trouble for riding without a helmet on, but you can stand naked with a G-string only in the mall, and that's okay.
Yep, I'm waiting for some sort of summons to arrive saying that it's against the public interest, or it's lewd, or it's bad taste, so we'll keep the books open.
Oh, Sammy, you would have had all the women there sort of wooing, and they would have been beside themselves.
Yes, Ken, very nicely, but we're not allowed to say the women were beside themselves in this day and age. We've got to say the men were beside themselves too. And I didn't look at any good-looking women. I looked at some good-looking women and some good-looking men.
Sammy, we
do
thank you.
To be politically correct now. We've had that drilled into us for 6 months.
Now, Sam, we do thank you for getting the crowds at Amy Stadium last weekend. It was all you're doing, Sam. Well, we got over 41,000, and we do, from the bottom of our heart, Sam, say a very, very big thank you to you.
Yeah, don't overdo it, Ken. That's enough.
I say we'll catch you on the footy show tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. Good on you, Kenny. See you later, Phil.
Good on you, Sam.
See you,
Thanks,
Sammy.
mate.
Yep.
He is fantastic, isn't he?
Oh, he's a funny man.
He is a funny
Sammy
man.
Newman there. Tarred and
Although
feathered.
you've got to admire him because, all pranks aside, it did help obviously get some people to the game.
Any
That
pub-
wasn't the reason that 41,000 turned up.
Any publicity is good publicity.
It certainly generated some interest, some other interest in the game.
You can imagine walking into the shower down at the Next Generation to see this brown stuff flow in front of the
Worst
cubicle.
case of diarrhea you'd ever seen.
Unbelievable. Our special guest was Sammy Newman. We'll take a break. Back with more shortly.